Hello and welcome in the course Teaching and Learning on Swayam platform. I am our course instructor Dr. Gaurav Singh from School of Education IGNOU, and today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, managing behavioral problems in classroom. As a teacher, when you enter in your class, you find different type of learners. Learners who concentrate and who are active for the teaching learning. Learners who sometimes create certain problems in your teaching learning. So how to manage learners in the classroom, specifically their behavioral problems, is always a challenge for the teachers. So in today's discussion, I am going to talk about some strategies, some basic strategies which you can use to manage the behavioral problems in the classroom. Many times teachers complain that they spend a fair amount of time in resolving issues related to behavioral problems of the learners. If they are having a class of 30 minutes, they hardly teach about 10 to 15 minutes in a class. Rest 10 to 15 minutes they invest only to manage the behavioral problems. And all problems are not due to the same reason. The problems may be from different reasons. Maybe the content is not interesting. Maybe the teacher is not communicating to the learners. Maybe learners are feeling hungry and it is a middle class and they are waiting for the lunch. There can be any reason. You cannot say that only this particular reason is responsible for certain behavioral problems in the classroom. Because in classroom, the problems which you face as a teacher from the learners may be related to the personal behavior of a learner. Some may be related to his or her behavior when he or she is part of a group, because group behavior is always different from individual behavior. He or she may show a particular behavior only towards a particular event or a particular learner or a particular person, not about towards all. So you may face a different variety of behavioral problems in your classroom. Generally what happens that if there is a counselor in the school, a teacher prefer to refer that learner to him or her. But the truth is that many Indian schools are not still having a dedicated counselor. In such schools, you as a teacher has to manage the behavioral problems of the learners. You should act as a teacher as well as you need to act as a counselor also. I repeat. Not only you need to act as a teacher in the classroom, but also you need to act as a counselor in the classroom. What kind of measures we adopt to resolve the behavioral problems? It is called threefold strategy. There are certain measures called preventive measures, there are certain measures called supportive measures, and there are certain measures which are called corrective measures. Let us discuss all these measures one by one. What are the preventive measures? The measures, if these are adopted, in future the problems may be avoided. Means the measures adopted by the teacher and school even before the problem is occurring are called preventive measures. These are early measures through which many general problems can be avoided. Here a teacher has to play a dual role. That is, they need to create the supportive environment to promote positive discipline in the school, and they also need to identify and arrange the support system to prevent the learners from negative behaviors. Preventive measures are not only for a particular specific learner, rather such measures are for all. You frame certain rules, certain regulations, certain do's and don'ts. For example, you are a science teacher. You may have an idea that what kind of disciplinary issues can emerge in a science laboratory, because there can be sophisticated equipments, there can be risky chemicals, anything can be there. So what you make? You make a list of do's and don'ts and you paste it at the entry of the lab, you paste it at appropriate places at the lab, and you also discuss before starting actually any experiment with the students, the do's and don'ts. So what those do's and don'ts are? Those do's and don'ts are basically preventive measures that if those will be followed, there will not be a possibility for any problem. So how you can use preventive measures? You can reinforce and reward good behavior. If some students are showing any particular behavior which is appreciable, then you should appreciate it, you should reward it, you should reinforce it. It impacts the other learners in positive way. So that is a way of creating positive discipline in the classroom. Effective classroom rules, as I told you, you can create do's and don'ts categorically and clearly they should be mentioned and explained to each and every learner. Then your non-verbal communication, your body language, your facial expressions are the preventive measures which prevent many things to happen. Better thing is you adopt for cooperative learning strategies. Because in cooperative learning strategies, learner not only to learn about a concept to be discussed, but also a certain life skills are developing among them. They learn to live together, they learn to share with each other, they learn to respect other views, they learn how to share and how to contribute as a team, the team building, sharing, working with each other. All these values are developing indirectly among the learners if you are using any cooperative learning strategy. It helps to create a positive discipline in the classroom and it is a preventive measure. Sometimes you may face a problematic situation because if some students are not getting the adequate academic support, maybe the slow learners, the students who are not matching the pace of the learning with the average class, if they are not getting adequate academic support, they may misbehave, they may create certain behavioral problems, they may show you something. To avoid that, you need to identify such learners and plan in advance the proper additional academic support for such learners. And periodical parental involvement is also a preventive measure. So time to time, you discuss with issues with the parents, you involve them in the behavior modification of the learners. If you will do it, you will be able to prevent a lot of behavioral issues in the classroom. Then comes the supportive measures. Like preventive measures are the measures which you adopt before occurring of any problem. But if you see any behavioral problem is occurring in the classroom, at that time you use certain measures to avoid or to reduce that behavioral problem in a positive way. Such measures are called supportive measures. So many times you may find that the strategy which you are using as a supportive measure may be the same as a preventive measure, but the implementation is different. Why it is different? Because the nature of the event has changed. When you was using it as a preventive measure, you was just expecting that this behavior may be shown or learner may misbehave in this particular direction. Then I will adopt this approach. But here learner has already misbehaved or he or she has shown certain behavioral issues to you. You have noticed them. Then you are trying to apply that measure which were in your planning. So here the measure will be the same, but the nature of the application is different. That's why here it is a supportive measure. So supportive measure can be used by the teachers to support the positive behavior in the classroom. You can use positive behavior support as an alternative strategy to avoid punishment in the classroom. So don't work on punishment, rather you design certain positive behavior support programs. You know, it doesn't mean that you withhold something. So what is supportive measure then? Extension and redirection is a very effective supportive measure. That if some behavior is being appeared due to a particular situation, that situation can be extended or learners may be redirected to a positive direction where they consume their energy to create something, to develop something, and in this way you can reduce the chances of behavioral problems. You should also learn how to resolve conflicts. So conflict resolution skills are to be learned by each and every teacher. Sometimes you may face certain behavioral problems due to some curricular issues. Whether the text is tough, you are not able to explain as per the level of the learners. So you need to bring certain adaptations in your curriculum. If you are bringing such curricular adaptations, you are changing the way to present the content, then you may help in overcoming the behavioral problems. Then you also need to learn the replacement skills. How we can replace one text, one activity, one task with the another. By replacing the task and adding the task as per the interest of the learner also is a supportive measure. Then comes the corrective measures. What are the corrective measures? When a problematic behavior is occurring frequently and preventive and supportive measures are not giving the desired results, you use corrective measures. So you can say corrective measures are the last solution to handle any problematic behavior. Implementation of the corrective measures may require the involvement of the parents and school administration as well. Because sometimes if you do not involve the parents and you are taking any corrective measures basically to support your learner, they may take it wrong, they may misunderstood it. If you are not sharing something with your school administration and you are taking any corrective measures on your own, that may create a problem, because if parents are noticing something, they will ask to school. If school management is not aware about that, then that is a problem. So, to make all of the stakeholders aware is an important precondition for applying any corrective measure. Generally, when we apply any corrective measure, we do two things. We make our learners aware of the consequences. That if you will not stop by showing this behavior, whatever measure I will adopt, what will be the consequences of that? Or you remove the situation which is creating such problematic behavior among the learners. So this is a example of a consequence matrices given by Sprick in 2009. Here he was suggesting that the consequences can be a 4 level, initial level, mild level, moderate level and discipline referral level. For example, a student, accidentally blurting out something or disturbing the chairs on the floor or forgetting, then what you will do? What will be the consequence? There will be a calm verbal redirection or repairments. But what kind of mild behavioral problems, like they are talking out of the turn. You are asking something to one student, but few students keep on answering for every question, even if you are not asking to them. They keep on talking. If you are asking them to take an initiative, they are not taking the initiative, so they are failing in that. If you have asked to bring certain materials in the class, they are not bringing that material in the class. Sometimes some students have a habit to keep on tapping the table or making the noise continuously, or they do not follow the classroom rules, or there are tardies. So what you can do? There is a very good tool, think and reflection sheet, that you can give them a sheet and they should think what they have done, why they have done. You can take the time called time out. Time out is also a good strategy. You can do some positive practices and response sheet can be given to them. Similarly, for moderate level, I repeat, what moderate level means? Moderate level behavior problems means that they are making some derogatory remarks or comments to the peers. They are throwing the objects. They are showing some tantrum if they are not doing something. There can be an issue of profanity or sleeping in the class. So what you can do? There are many consequences like kindness jar, restitution, response cost, detention, in-school suspension, many things you can adopt. But sometimes if you are observing that students, what are behavior they are showing is a danger to others, it is a kind of threat, means harm to self, to others, to the property of the school, or they are bullying to the other learners, then you cannot take the decision on your own. You need to refer it to the office, means the school administration, and school administration take an informed and appropriate action on such behaviors. What do you mean by response cost? I was talking about a strategy called response cost or loss of the point. Actually, in this, in every beginning of every day or every week, we give certain numbers or points to us. We can say, okay, your total points are 100. So if you show any wrong behavior, 1 point will be reduced. Or you can organize some activities where if they are showing positive behavior, they earn some points. So they have earned certain points. If they show any negative behavior, their points will be reduced. So at the end of the week, at the end of the month, or at the end of the day, you can say that the students can analyze on their own that how much they have earned or how much they have lost. Then restitution means that if a student has done something wrong, some damage to a property or to a peer, then students are asked to repair the damage which they have done on their own. In this way, they learn that how difficult is the repair of the damage, and in future they may not bring any damage. You can give them certain warning also. It can be a verbal warning by the words in the written or a letter, or it can be a non-verbal prompt. It is up to you. According to the situation, you can decide. Sometimes students are removed from a reinforcing environment and they are placed into an environment where they are not getting any opportunity for any reinforcement. So if a student is creating a lot of problem, a lot of issues, teacher put them at the last seat. Okay, you sit at the last, or you sit at the first. Teacher give some resources or ask certain questions to all students. For some time, he or she does not ask any question to that particular student. That is called time out. Then time out means that if a student is showing some negative behavior or the behavior which need to be modified, what a teacher does, a teacher owed some time or reduce the time. For example, for others the recess will be of 30 minutes because today you have shown this, so you will not go for recess for 30 minutes, you will go only for 20 minutes. Or even the time between the classes, you can reduce that. You can give them demerit points, which are the negative points which basically added up to a predetermined negative consequences, which are to be given to a student for each behavior infraction. Detention is also a strategy which not be used regularly, but sometimes if a student is creating some problem, then a school can make a system that these such students can be detained for a particular period in a school in a non-stimulating situation. You can give them behavior improvement form, where they need to complete a form which requires him or her to reflect on their behavior and to avoid future problems. Then you can give them the positive practices. They can practice appropriate behavior repeatedly or rehearse it many times so that they learn and they pay attention to the learning. Some mystery consequences can be there, like you can have a box where some mystery consequences are written, and if a student is showing some negative behavior or the behavior which need to be modified, you can ask them to pull something from the box and check that what consequence has been decided for such behavior. You can give some explicit instructions, like students should know that how to perform appropriate behavior in a particular situation. So the objective of this whole discussion is basically to tell you that how you can minimize the behavioral problems in the classroom by using the corrective measures, by using the measures which are preventive in nature and measures which are supportive in nature, so that you can maximize the learning in the classroom. I hope that with this discussion, you will be able to understand the different kinds of measures which you can use in your class to modify and manage the behavior of your learners in positive way. Thank you very much.